Chris shares his journey of resilience and determination. Don't miss this opportunity to rewire your mindset and seize the power of choice. Reserve your tickets now at fmwfchamber.com. Voices of Vision featuring Chris Gardner, April 18th.
Game on! Game on! Game on! He shoots, he scores!
Not one, not two, 0 beverages this morning for the great one, Dean Wilson. And I'm the wise one, Jeff Bradall. We are in rehab today, eh, Wills?
We got probably a little carried away Thursday night watching the game, and we didn't budget. You know what I mean? You can't drink it all the one night, Thursday night. So we got to replenish that sometime today, Saturday.
Eddie Christian is down in St. Paul watching the Final Four game tonight. Dr. Phil's in Poland with the International Ice Hockey Federation. Hey, we're going to have, hopefully, some calls at 701-293-9000, 701-293-9000. Wills, you see a lot of passage through the portal. Right? The portal, what do you want to call that? The bingo? Bingo, bango, bongo? What do you want to call it?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I believe you said we're getting Coach Barry on at 9:30, and I wrote out about a dozen questions because it's a different world now. I mean, the different world is this. You know, the recruiting and getting out, doing stuff, recruiting. I think of, the old day, you watch high school teams, you go to juniors, you're watching around, you're bringing kids in, they hit the pocket, you added European players in for your recruiting tool, stuff like that. But this portal's a different beast, and I'm thinking, questions I have, when is it open? When is it close? You want to be honest to your players, guys that are playing for you, guys that are moving, those deadline dates. I talked to somebody the other day. This guy's got advisors now, agents and stuff in college. And, you know what I mean? It's just a different world, a different beast. And the work as a college coach now is just unbelievable.
Though they can't have agents, they have advisors, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
Buffalo Bison, same thing.
Yeah, well,
or maybe not. Maybe not.
Technically not, but you know what? There used to be a time when players could just walk into the coach, have the balls, just say, "Hey, coach, what's going on? Should I move on? Should I stay here? Should I play?" Right? Now you need someone who you're paying to have that conversation with the coach. I think that is just nuts. And if I were a head coach, I would not take a call from an advisor. I'd say, screw you. I'm not going to have any of those phone calls. I don't want to talk to you. You know what? My player is my player. He's not ours. That's how I would do it.
Well, I always just say that, first of all, parents are paying these advisors to go out there and see what's the best route for my son or daughter. I'll throw women out there too. And I used to tell guys this in the high school, not my little world again, right? I beat you out, it's okay. You beat me out, I want to quit. I don't want to work hard. I don't want to keep going to push it through. I'm going to move. And then I'll contradict myself. When I was up there, and I always tell people I didn't play hockey at UND, tried to do my best for football. But you got somebody, you're doing your best, and somebody's more talented than you, and I couldn't beat him out. Would that portal be a good thing? Because I did have other schools call and go, you can start here. And I didn't go. I thought I could keep beating these guys out, and it's hard to beat guys out that are more talented than I was.
That I think that's a mindset that is lost in our society. I was the same way. I was a recruited walk-on. And my goal was to beat out every player ahead of me and be the best player on the team. Was I? No, but that was a goal. It wasn't to be, let me try my best here. And, oh, by the way, if I don't make it in 6 months, let me go knock on the door of another program and see if I can play there. Now, I'm not saying the portal, Wills, is completely bad. I think there are opportunities for kids where things don't work out for whatever reason.
I agree.
That could move. One, I think if they want to move for academics into a field they want, North Dakota, like the aviation program or whatever, then I think they should be allowed to move. You know what? There may be a player, and I'm going to throw a league out there, that maybe an independent team that recruited a player that is 6 feet and then in 1 year grew 4 inches and 20 pounds, redeveloped his body. Maybe that kid should now have an opportunity to move up, right?
Sure.
I don't have any problem with kids wanting to move up. Where I have a problem with is the lateral movement. I have 100% agreement where if kids want to go down to a different program, if the NCHC isn't for them, maybe the AC, the Atlantic Coast is a conference for them. Maybe Concordia is. Maybe Augsburg is, right? Maybe a team like Mankato that's just redeveloping. I don't have a problem with that, for them to say, hey, I want more ice time. But to think you could go from, let's say, North Dakota, then go to Michigan or Michigan State because you don't like North Dakota, are you going to get more ice time as a player to go to Michigan? Or a Michigan player get more ice time to come to North Dakota? That's not going to happen. You agree or disagree, Wills?
I agree, and there's a few coaches out there that said some powerful things. One, I remember Coach Serratori, Tom, and he said, why not go where they want you? You know what I mean? If they're recruiting you hard, out of juniors or whatever, go there, And sometimes you have your heart set on you want to go to a certain place. I think of Chris Berg with this station. He had on his wall as an 8th grader, I want to go to Stanford to play football. His heart and soul was set on that place. He did transfer, though, I think, to Northern Iowa later, but his heart was set on being there. That's where he wanted to go. But go where they want you. My also advice I give, and I've been out at all the high schools and some superstar high school athletes, and I told them this: when you go on to college and university, is work hard while you wait. A 21-year-old is not going to be fearing an 18-year-old, and in the hockey world it's different because guys will play juniors. They'll roll in as a 20-year-old, a freshman, right? But work hard while you wait, and we're in a world of fast forward. We got to go. We got to move. We got to go. I got to go. Even I had guys leave me as juniors and seniors in high school, and a lot of the junior coaches, they don't call you to talk to you because they don't talk about inside the helmet. The maturity. Physically, these guys were dudes, 6'2", 2.25. They're dudes, but are they mentally ready? And I tell guys that it's a different beast. I might have to coddle you. You still got the training wheels on, but when you go to college, they kick them off. You got to get after it. They kick them off. You got to get after it. You got to make things happen, and you're going to experience those highs and lows. And that's what somebody said we interviewed. And I'm thinking of Zombo or something. They talked about. You're used to the up and downs. You can adjust better. You can pop back up again on a negative situation for yourself.
Well, that Christy Brinkley photo that poster that was on your wall, Wills, you got that. You achieved that with your lovely wife, Ann. And we do have a caller on the line. Let's hang tight, caller. I appreciate you calling in, but we have 60 seconds left here. You didn't catch that, did you? You said Chris Berg was Stanford on his wall, right? and I said Christy Brinkley for you, and you ended up with Christy Brinkley with your lovely wife, Ann. We have Coach Brad Berry coming on at 9:30. If you have your questions, 701-293-9000. That'll be an interesting phone call with Coach Barry. We have a caller coming on right after our break, and we'll be back with the hockey guys right after this. Wills, before we take the caller, I hope he's not long distance. I got to ask you this. With the portal going on and everything going on in sports and in life, what was the craziest thing you heard of or saw in your 50 years of coaching? Seriously, what's the craziest thing?
I've seen some crazy stuff before. Like one is, did your dad ever go to practices and watch all the time? Like I've had parents stay and watch practice all the time. And I remember practicing and game one time, I'm looking and this father's giving sign languages and signals to his kid and kept looking up. So I, a little crazy man, I go over there in the stands and tell your dad to knock off those hand signals. And the player looks at me, I got my scale, I got all my crap on. It's a full crowd. It's high school, right? Go up there, you don't play a second again. Go up there and tell him to knock it off. So he's trudging through the stands, going up and looking like a fool. And I made him go tell his dad, stop it. I go, what are you doing? What are we playing baseball? You give me the bunt sign? What's he doing? And then the other day, even to bump it up a better notch, it's like a squirt team. And his player comes up to the coach. This is true. Just recently this season, comes up to the coach and goes, Coach, can you fix my helmet? He said, well, come here, I'll fix it. He thinks it's like a chin strap, whatever. He looks, he's got a microphone, a headpiece in there. He said, yeah, I can't hear my dad. It fell out. You know what I mean? Like, what's your dad saying up there? Don't pass the puck, drive the net, keep it, don't pass the puck, attack. What the heck are you telling him on there? It's like ludicrous. Like, oh my gosh, what is going to be next?
I can't believe that one. But I have seen it's very common where parents are up in the stands during games, players are on the bench, and the dads are saying this, they're doing this, the hand signals, you know.
Well, my favorite thing was I went to a game this year, you know, and I said, why is the coach, I was talking to a friend of mine, why is the coach doing this and that? And they go, Wills, look at your hat. And I go, yeah. I go, you got a stamp there. You're not a coach anymore. You got stamped to come in. You're a spectator. Enjoy the show and be quiet.
We can go down that rabbit hole with our involvement in hockey over the last collectively 100 years, Wills. But we've had a caller on the line, and I apologize. We've been talking too much, having too much fun here. Thanks for calling in to the Hockey Guys this morning.
Hey, Dean. I was just going to ask you about the transfer portal. If they would go back to maybe where you have to sit for 6 months to a year, is that a possibility? You think it would happen, or is that just kind of gone by the wayside?
You know, that's a great
question.
Great question. And maybe, you know, to listen to our next segment with Coach Barry, because he might have he will have better insight on it. Because I'm thinking after COVID, is this portal thing going to dissipate? I don't know. I think it might. You know, I just think, you know, and I always tell this because I get back to my hockey world of high school, right? Minnesota, you could go wherever you wanted to go. I mean, you go to another school, you're eligible right away. People are recruiting. People are angry. You know, people are angry, and you're stealing these good kids. And, you know, you had private schools. Now you got the academies going on. We got rid of that stuff, you know, so kids couldn't. High school, if you come in, you got to sit out a whole calendar year. So it deterred things. And I could almost write a book of how people beat the system. And now people can work from home. You know, you can work from home and say you're playing here or there to beat the system and be eligible. But to wrap around your question, you know, that's a good question. I think you got to listen, because I think we're going to throw it out to Coach Barry to see, is this going to dissipate? Are they going to change the rule of the open portal and the big get bigger and stronger? And why wouldn't you take Gretzky if he wants to play for me?
I will add this. There was a league, basketball league and football league, big league down south, that implemented a rule that said, hey, if you're going to change schools, there's was it a 4-month or a 6-month period before you could play. And that's inconsistent with what the rule is now, or where there's no rules now, right? And the player took it all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, and the case is sitting with the United States Supreme Court right now on whether or not a league can restrict a player's ability to play for 4 months, 6 months after they've transferred schools. And that used to be the old rule, because Jason Blake, you know, started off at a different college.
Ferris
State transferred to North Dakota. Mark Kugelin did the same thing, started off in Minnesota, came to North Dakota, and they had the waiting period. And I don't know if it was the NCAA or whether it was the league, but they had said, okay, you can come in for the current players while the case is going on, and if it rules against you, we're not going to affect you. But I think it's not going to be a matter of what the coaches want or the administrators want. It's going to be a court decision, unfortunately, or it may eventually come down to a legislative answer at the Congress of the United States.
Adam, your thoughts on that? What do you think? Go ahead.
I just really think that with transferring, it's if you put even just a short waiting period, I mean, it makes you think about it more rather than I'm just not getting my playing time. I'm going to have to wait. So I really got to think about this. So,
or if you want to go, from Ferris State to the University of North Dakota to win a national championship, you're going to have to wait, right? That's the
Yep.
Jason Blake rule. And he did. He earned it,
No, and that's just it. It puts a little bit more weight on the decision. It's like, okay, I'm not going to play right away. Should I make this move or should I stay where I'm at? So,
I took a look at the transfer portals in the NCHC. Right now, North Dakota has 3. Denver has 1. I think I'd be curious at the end of this year whether the lateral transfer of players is up or down from previous years. Now, Duluth, I know, are bringing a lot of players in because they lost a lot of players. St. Cloud, their big defenseman Pert went and signed with the Wild. But I'm curious this year when the playoffs are over, the portal closes, whether or not in the Big Ten and the NCHC, whether the transfer portal numbers are higher or lower than last year. And I predict they're going to be lower because I think that shiny new object coming to your team, transferring from one school to another school, I don't see it as – I think the transfer as a need, if you got to fill a specific position with numbers like North Dakota had to do last year with having no defensemen. I mean, you have no choice, right? You can't have 6 defensemen play.
yeah.
But go ahead, Adam.
Well, no, like I said, everybody's just so free to leave now, where it's before. Like I say, if I'm going to move, I got to really think about this because I might not play right away. So, and that affects, your draft status, or not necessarily draft status, but when you're going to be able to move up because there's so many 1 or 2 years and done. So,
well, Adam, listen, you sound like a wise hockey guy. We got Coach Blaze coming on, or Coach Brad Berry coming on in about 5 minutes. Call back, ask that question to Coach Berry. And we have another caller on the line.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Jeff and Dean, Tom here. Say, you had mentioned something about these agents being paid. My son is playing up at UND right now, and he was sitting in Muskegon as an alternate captain, and the kid next to him said, "Who's your agent?" He kind of gave him this look. Well, he didn't have one. But anyway, the agents do not get paid at this point in time, and you were actually right, Jeff, in saying something about that NCAA and the lawsuit or whatever. But I've seen some articles recently that talk about this portal potentially being utilized mid-season, where they wouldn't even have to wait, so they could be remember that famous player at the Gophers that didn't like the way the season was going, and he joined the New York Islanders mid-season. But potentially they could transfer in the middle of the season. So like Emerson this year could have said, "I'm not playing here." He could go to AIC. He could make a lateral move. But that's something that might happen that would be even more detrimental. Right now it's a very transactional, free agency kind of thing, but it could even be worse. So,
hey, Tom, listen.
They do not get paid.
Hey, listen, we got 60 seconds. What's your prediction for the championship game tonight?
As much as I like the way Denver plays, I just thought Boston College looked too good the other night, so I think it's Boston College. I prefer Denver, but that just puts them one more ahead of us, and I'd rather get us up at 9 before they get to 10.
I hear you.
Tom, you're a great man. We love you, brother. Safe trip on your outing to Devil's Lake. Say hello. Congrats to your family and your wife for being named the lieutenant governor's or candidate. And we'll be back with the hockey guys with Coach Brad Berry right after this. Well, welcome back. We appreciate the calls. Keep them coming in. 701-293-9000 on the road. An individual who never sleeps, always works. Hockey is always on his mind. Winning championships. Coach Brad Berry from North Dakota Hockey. Good morning.
Morning, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good. If we lose you, we'll call you back. I suppose you can't tell us where you're at right now, huh?
Well, I'm just in transit here and just kind of cutting across country here. So usually pretty good coverage, but here and there it's a little bit spotty right now. So.
Well, you take a look at the top 16 teams. I mean, we'll take you back 3 weeks. The top 16 teams in college hockey this year, Brad, you could have added another 10, which goes to my view that we should have a 64-team tournament just like basketball in college hockey, and let everyone in and let everyone play, because at any given time, anyone can beat anybody. What do you think?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know what, I know 64, that's a lot, and I think there's about 64 programs, but yeah, I think from expanding from 16 for sure, the parity's gotten so great in college hockey, and you know what, it's a long season. You know, you're going on 7 months that, you know, you work extremely hard, and I think giving programs an opportunity to keep playing would be a good idea.
You know, Brad, I take a look early on this season. North Dakota goes on the road down to Boston. North Dakota loses 2-3. It comes back and wins in overtime against a good, strong BU team. And I look at this and say North Dakota, in my view, got a tough draw. And the wrong shake, because North Dakota easily could have been sitting where Denver is right now, or could have been sitting where BC is right now playing for a championship. North Dakota's team this year, Brad, it was just as good, just as competitive, and I think better defensively than probably most teams that made the final 16.
Yeah, well, you know, Jeff, when you kind of look a year ago when we first started here, and you know, I don't think a lot of people are giving us a great chance to even make the tournament just because we had to turn over 8 defensemen. Like, we've never turned over all 8 defensemen, and then with a lot of different turnover up front, goaltending, and different things like that. So I was proud of our guys, how we came together. You know, we had a tough non-conference schedule that set us up for a great run here. And, you know, we played Boston University, Minnesota, Wisconsin, had a lot of tough teams. And we did really well on that, and obviously won the Penrose Cup for the 4th time in 5 years, for 5 years. So, you know, I think everybody gauges your team by winning national championships, and you know, we've won 8 already, and there's only a couple teams that won more than us, and but we're going to keep striving to get that national championship. But like I said, we do things on a professional way on a daily basis to give our team success, to win league titles, which we have, and to give our guys opportunity to play in the NHL just like Jackson Blake is.
You know, Brad, I have to tell you, I look back at your lengthy coaching career, and this year was, in my opinion, one of your best coaching jobs that any coaching team could have, to bring a team like you brought in a whole brand new defensive core. As you mentioned, your coaching staff was and yourself, I think, were top notch, and I don't think there was a better coaching staff in the country that did what they did with, like you did with North Dakota.
Well, I appreciate that, and you know, every year presents a different opportunity, and different people coming into your group, and different people leaving your group, and I think our job is to try to invest in ourselves on a daily basis. We tell our players, you need to be invested in. And keep putting together a body of work that substantiates you to have success, and what are you going to do on a daily basis? And I know our staff and our players do that collectively here, and really proud of the way that we just do things on a daily basis professionally here. And now we're getting ready for the next season. And you know, like I said, it's disappointing that we're not playing today in the national championship game. But again, like I said, we're going to strive to get after it again right away so that we can be there next year. And again, like I said, I'm just proud of the way our guys are doing the right things on and off the ice to give them success.
Hey, Brad, Dean Wilson here, and I agree with you. I watched at the beginning of the year to the end of the year. You taught them the UND way, working together, playing well, and I thought it was just amazing from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. You had the skill, but you worked real well together at the end, and it was fun watching you guys play. My question to you is just the new challenges with recruiting today. I think of the portal, Blake leaves, and it's a wow factor of what you guys got to put together. Give us a little snapshot of how recruiting goes and the highs and lows, maybe.
Yeah, well, first of all, Dean, great to have you on the show, and thanks again for those kind words. And that's a great question. And I listen to different coaches, whether it's in hockey or different collegiate sports around the country that's had success. And there's a guy named Tom Izzo that's done it a long time, but had success. And he's getting up there in age, and he's still having a lot of success coaching basketball at Division I level. And he said the other day that in past it used to be everything was year to year, but now everything is day to day. When you think about players leaving, signing pro, the transfer portal, different things that are coming at you, and he preempted his speech, and then he concluded it with saying, "I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do." But in saying that, you got to change with the times, and it's like myself too, and everybody else. It is what it is right now with the transfer portal and everything. You got to change with the times, and you got to adapt. And I think what has to happen now, Dean, there's got to be more and more communication with your players and with the people around you and your staff to make sure that everybody is on the know and you're fully articulate in what you have to say and what your message is. And if you do that, maybe you have a chance to keep players and sustain success in your program. And you're right, like Jackson Blake, we were hoping we could keep him for another year. But again, like he put together a body of work over 2 years that a lot of players have never done in our program, like the elite have, and they gave themselves an opportunity to play at the pro level, like Brock Besser and some of those players that played 2 years. So we wish him the best of luck. And you know what, Dean? And you're asking, how do we keep going and how do we do that? Well, we got to bring in more good players. And we got Sasha Bovair is going to be a first-round pick playing in Muskegon. He just scored his 36th goal of the year last night. We got that young man that's playing right in your backyard in Fargo there with Max Swanson.
Yes, he's a great.
He's going to break. He's going to break Jackson Blake's record. He's got one more game tonight, and I think he's going to break Jackson Blake's record in the USHL. So we got some really, really good players that are coming in. That's going to perpetuate our program here.
Well, you were bang on, and I love hearing you because I was jotting notes this morning, the wow factor of your off season. And it's about your integrity, the program's integrity, the honesty, and no false promises to guys. And there's a lot of movement, and it's like one big chess match constantly of keeping you strong and keeping that excitement going. And you guys are doing it on your staff.
Say, Brad, we have 2 callers on the line. Would you be willing to take those calls?
Yeah, absolutely.
First call, I think, is Mark. You got Coach Brad Berry on the line. We just dropped Mark. Did we have one more? Oh, both of them dropped. They've been waiting, Brad, for about 15 minutes. I should have got them on earlier. My apologies to those callers.
But, I'll echo again. Just that big chess match, off-season movement, people coming and going, and like I said about the integrity, the honesty of the program, yourself as a staff, and, no false promises. You got to work for what we had it, and you got to work hard to get to a great program. And so great job, Coach, about how you guys accomplished that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Dean. And you know what? It's, obviously I'm grateful. I pinch myself every day when I would wake up and get to the rink at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I drive by the Ralph. And, we always tell our players, it's not we have to, we get to. Like, we get to be part of a special program. I get to be part of a great coaching staff and a great program here. And it all started with the people behind us, before us, I should say. When I came in here as a freshman, 18-year-old freshman, Dino Gasparini held the Sioux jersey in front of me, and he just said, hey, you know what? The most important thing at North Dakota is the logo on the front, not your name on the back. And I live that to this day, and I tell it to our incoming freshmen and our new players each and every year. And they firmly believe that. And you got to be accountable, and you have to have tough conversations, and you have to make sure that guys are earning it every day. And that's the beauty of it. And I know everybody wants to try to get to the NHL and play there and play some level of pro hockey. But at the end of the day, those life lessons that I got taught, and you, Jeff, as well, we've transferred those on to the players. And you know what? Like Reese Gaber was our captain this year. He told that when we lost our last game in St. Louis against Michigan, we held our guys in the locker room, and I said some words, and I left that room. He took over that locker room, and I could hear him talk about leaving the program in a better place and passing on all of our staples of our culture. And I firmly believe we're in a really good place with guys like Louis Jamernick and Jake Schmaltz and Ben Strinden that are going to lead our group.
Yeah, you know, Brad, I agree with you. We have 90 seconds left here. There's one player that and one assistant coach that really I enjoyed watching. Your young defensive coach, Simpson, I thought adding him was a genius move. Just smiling at those defensemen. I think he really connected this year with your defensive core, number one. And number two, Johannes, if you could anticipate the growth of a player over 3 years and then bring them in their senior year like he did, his play was he could barely move in the last 2 minutes of that game against Michigan. He left everything on the ice.
Yeah, well, you know what? Just to comment on both those ideas that you had there. The first one, the word you used was connection. Absolutely. Dylan Simpson has done a great job with our group. You know, he brings that defensive acumen into our group, but he connects with our players. He's a young guy that connects with our players. And Hunter Johannes, just to end off with him, he is absolutely a poster child of what we are at North Dakota. He died to come into our program, finally got in here, and he made a huge impact in our program.
Brad Berry, thank you, and we'll be back with the hockey guys.
Thanks, Brad.
Awesome music. Addison, good job producing the show. Thank you. You're taking over, just leaving right where Jake
I try.
left. Good job. Thank you very much. Well, listen, let's set the stage for tonight's game, right? We'll start Thursday night. We got to get waiting for some good music here, Wills. Ready? Thursday night scoreboard. The 4 remaining teams in the NCHC hockey tournament. First game of the night, Michigan playing the Boston College Eagles. Boy, that's the game of the young guns, eh, Wills? Boston College jumped off to a good lead, and Michigan was chasing that puck. They're not a strong defensive team. Boston College stomped on them 4-0. The other game, Denver, the old team, the experienced team, players that have won the national championship before, taking on number 2, Boston University, goes into overtime. Denver comes out with the victory, which leads to this. Number 3, Denver Pioneers, taking on number 1, Boston College Eagles. Tonight, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, ESPN 2. What do you think, Wills? Give us your prediction.
Well, I've said it all year. Denver kind of came out a little slow and then was on fire the second half, and that's when you want to play great hockey. Boston has never teetered all year long. They've been 1-2 all year long. We're Midwesterners. Maybe we don't give them as much love and respect. Maybe, I don't know. I'll take that back. They've been 1-2 all year, both those Boston schools. So, they're the real deal. I watch them. They can scooch up and down the ice. I've been trying to study them.
They're the real deal, Wilson, until they play North Dakota. North Dakota plays 2 games on the road, hostile environment, lose the first game by 1 goal and come back and win the next goal. It just makes me mad. North Dakota got a bad draw. And North Dakota had the quality team. They should be there in the championship game, no doubt about it. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, that's okay. I agree and disagree. We're UND guys, and I agree. But the best teams finish off. You got to be consistent, play well. I'm watching those 2 teams in the championship tonight. My observation: you make a mistake, it's a goal. Both teams, and I think you always go to the promised land. How many times has a goalie been MVP? Those goalies have been on fire. You can't get. There have been some crazy saves with Denver's goalie, Boston's goalie. You got to get by him. The foot speed is unbelievable. Both those teams.
And both of them have 2 phenomenal defensemen that are just fun to watch, and they move the puck. You know what? When I heard an old crispy, crusty coach say, the longer the game is 0-0, it helps us. Remember who that coach was?
I don't.
That was
I don't.
That was you.
Well, you know what? It's
and I think the longer the game is 0-0 tonight, I think Boston College is going to panic, and I think it goes to the edge of the Pioneers. If the Pioneers have to chase the puck and chase the scoreboard, it's going to be a long night.
Well, the other night, Boston proved it. They got ahead of Michigan, and then they were doomed. It seemed like they couldn't catch back. And their guys were explosive, and they scored more goals than I thought they were going to do that night. But, it's hard when you got to climb out of a hole, 0-0, like you said. Who makes the mistake? Who pops it in? You're just at that level, but I really believe those are obviously they're 2 great teams. It's going to be a fun championship. I try to study rosters, like I told you. Both teams got 3 seniors. There's always a lot of movement. Guys go pro. They wait to the end of the season. But another observation, I smile at Denver. I think they got 7 guys from Alberta, 6 from Calgary. So they got a little recruiting bird dogs up there, grabbing guys to go to Denver. But both teams, they're relatively young. Like I said, just 3 seniors. They're fast. They're well coached. They can scooch up and down the ice. I'm thinking it's going to be a 1-0 game championship. And who wins it?
Yeah, it could be. I'm going to go back to the overtime goal, Denver, when they won the game. All right, 2-on-1. Tristan Brose is coming down the right side of the ice with the puck. He hesitates, freezes the defenseman, shoots right between the goalie's legs and scores, okay? Former Fargo Force player. We got to mention that. But listening to him in his post-game press conference, Tristan Brose said that for 3 days, Coach Carl had him working on that play, where they would come down 2-on-1. Instead of the guy with the puck continue to drive to the net or try to feed the other guy, you would hesitate, not stop, but you would just pull the puck back, hesitate, and then shoot. So here's a goal that's scored to get your team in the national championship game that the coach had his team practice for 3 days before that game. And a player that played one shift in the first period, and that was his second shift of the game, was the game that the shift that he scored the overtime goal on. It's just, you can just unpack that event and what was said in the post game, and we could have 5 shows on that, Wills.
Well, hockey is a game of a lot of 2-on-1s. Tons of 2-on-1s in a hockey game, and you work hard at them. What I love, that's what I love about hockey. I go to the guy, he shoots tonight, he doesn't score. I go, do you see the guy on the weak side? If he says no, doggone it, because you got to be a James Bond on it. You're going to shoot, you got to pass it. What are you going to do? A double head fake? Guys do double give and goes, double head fakes. You're going to shoot it. The goalie's obviously going to stay focused on the puck, right? But it's about good players knowing when to shoot it, when to bury it, what they're looking for. And they study these guys. Is it 5-hole? Are they weak up top, down low, whatever? They study them. It's a different game nowadays. But that's what's exciting, because I'll see a guy come down and go, pass it. He shoots and scores. Way to keep it.
Good shot.
Good shot. Way to keep it.
So, but you are right. It's you want to create 2-on-1s. That's what you want to do in hockey, is create the odd man advantage all over the ice. But you have now let's switch that around. Brose is on his backhand coming down, so he's on the left side of the ice on his backhand 2-on-1. Does he shoot a backhand, or does he do that hesitation, cut in 3 feet so he's on his forehand, and then shoot the puck?
That's a good question, because I used to tell guys, and guys read that, but I go, to force a guy to his backhand. When a guy's coming down, is he a lefty or right? Is a defensive when I played? Force him to his backhand, because I don't think that's as good a shot as obviously the forehand. But, those guys know it. They go, hey, you're lefty or right, and you pull to the middle to get on your forehand and let her rip.
Yeah, it's just like when they're doing the triangle or the third guy high and you're attacking on a penalty kill, the guy at the puck. Do you want to attack him on his forehand side, or you want to attack him on his backhand side? You want to force him to his backhand, right?
Are you one-timing, or you're deflecting it in on your backhand?
Hey, Dean, had a great time with you, buddy, today.
God, it was kind of fun with 2. You get to log a lot of airtime, right? I got to get bumped up to the first and second line today. I got a lot of playing time today.
Well, listen, we hope Doc Phil is having a great time in Poland, and Eddie, we hope you're having a great time in St. Paul. For Dean Wilson, Jeff Bradall, we want to thank Brad Barry, and we want to thank you, and we'll talk to you next week on the Hockey Guys.